Meanwhile, the FBI's conduct also being questioned in another probe. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the former FBI director, Andrew McCabe, he knew of thousands of emails that were related to the Hillary Clinton private email server investigation, and he knew of them for at least a month before then-director James Comey informed Congress. Now, those emails were found in former Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop. The lag is the subject of an investigation by the Justice Department's Inspector General. The Washington Post is reporting that McCabe had met with current FBI Director Christopher Wray to discuss the DOJ's investigation prior to the announcement of his resignation.
All right, a lot going on, obviously, and we'll unpack it all, or try to now, with attorney David Bruno, who's kind enough to join us here early this morning. David, good to see you.
Good morning, Kyle.
You'll get to story Lauren mentioned in a moment that's in the Journal, but let's start, of course, with this memo, as we may see it as early, who knows, as early as today.
Right.
So the argument, which you know, of course, but the argument here is you have a 4-page memo written by Republican staffers, which they say now, according to that FBI statement that we put up, maybe could be, at best misleading, at worst kind of just inaccurate because it's based on underlying information that's classified, which we don't have access to. So what do you make of that argument, that it shouldn't come out because we essentially don't have all the information, could be misleading?
Well, first of all, the FBI is bracing for the impact of this memo. And we see it with the FBI statement and also with Deputy Director McCabe's resignation earlier this week. This memo, in conjunction with this Inspector General report that Lauren just brought up, is going to be very damning, and the FBI is going to take it on the chin in many different levels. So it's expected, and I think that's the motivation for the statement that we saw yesterday.
Right. So you're saying, essentially making the argument for transparency,
Absolutely.
which released the memo. The other side says full transparency would basically be something that we couldn't have, which is to release all the classified information that it's based upon.
I'm for transparency so long as the sources and the methods are not divulged. I mean, sources meaning actual names where intelligence has come from,
which would be in that classified information we don't have.
Yes, certainly that.
So then, why
has
should we
to be
still
protected.
see the memo, which is based on that classified information? I guess is the question.
Say it again, Connell.
Why should we still see the memo that's based on that classified information? The FBI argument is that changes the argument, could make it inaccurate or misleading.
Well, no, I mean, they will have, I mean, the Dems will have an opportunity to get their own memo out, and the FBI certainly has the ability, as we saw yesterday with press releases, to try to get some information out to rebut. But transparency is what Nunes is all about, and that's why this memo is being released.
2 more quick things before we let you go. Adam Schiff made the argument, he's the top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee of the House, that the Republicans altered this memo before it was released. Your take on that?
Yeah, the rebuttal to that was there were some grammatical changes, and the other changes were as a request of the Dems and also the FBI. So there's been a statement that's rebut that allegation. All
right. So, and finally, there's all kinds of Russia news that's in the papers this morning. The New York Times has a lead story about the special counsel supposedly zeroing in on the cover-up of the Don Jr. meeting. So that's something a lot of people, I'm sure, are reading. And the other thing is what Lauren mentioned, that Wall Street Journal story that brings us back to the Clinton email investigation, saying that the FBI essentially sat on those emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop for about a month. What do you make of that?
Well, that's coming out in the Inspector General report. Inspector General Horowitz has been reviewing the Hillary Clinton investigation for about a year now. That's going to be coming any day as well. That's going to be geared into the FBI, how it handled it. And McCabe, that's probably the reason why McCabe resigned earlier this week. There's been reports out that Director Wray had told him that he's going to be subject in the report. And it was a move in preparation for that news.
All right, we'll watch all of this throughout the day, and on the memo at least, maybe we get some movement later in the day. David, good to see you. David Bruno, thanks a lot.
Good to see you, Colonel.
All right, Lauren.
Be well.